Okay, so I'm a bit in a hurry. We have an appointment with the particle accelerator in Zurich. And so today it's going to be the God particle. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. There might be like black holes, there might be just particles, or it might be waves, or who knows what's going to happen. Because this is like the quantum light work that we're meeting here. We're meeting in the quantum light work, and we're right in the middle of the accelerator, that's for sure. It's the particle accelerator, the God particle accelerator, and that is you, and not anything else. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, stay right here, because it is like, that's an interesting story as far as this world is interesting. Sorry. Yeah, I know. That's really like, yeah, not so interesting though. Yeah.
C'est intéressant, c'est pas intéressant.
But what is interesting is you being the God particle. So today this is the Quantum Lightwork, last meeting of the Quantum Lightwork, and we're giving it all today. And I love this background. I really think the colors are so pretty. So it just comes to me in using Canva. I get all these beautiful backgrounds. It's amazing. Now before I did it all with Photoshop and all this, but now it's like, bing, here it is, bing, 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 bing. It's like immediate, like, oh great, support, yes, or whatever way. I don't really care. It's wonderful. Look at this. So today the miracle light work is, we start with becoming still, and realizing what is actually going on. So there is also the word particle coming into this lesson, but in a whole different way. I am the Holy Son of God Himself. Deny your own identity and you will not escape the madness which induces this weird, unnatural and ghostly thought, which mocks creation and which laughs at God. Deny your own identity and you assail the universe alone, without a friend, a tiny particle of dust against the legions of your enemies. Deny your own identity and look on evil, sin and death, and watch despair snatch from your fingers every scrap of hope, leaving you nothing but a wish to die. You who perceive yourself as weak and frail, with futile hopes and devastated dreams, born but to die, to weep and suffer pain, hear this. All power is given you in earth and heaven. There is nothing that you cannot do. You play the game of death, of being helpless, pitifully tied to disillusion in a world which shows no mercy to you. Yet when you accord it mercy, will its mercy shine on you? Then let the Son of God awaken from his sleep and, opening his holy eyes, return again to bless the world he made. In error it began, but it will end in the reflection of his holiness, and we will sleep no more and dream of death. Then join with me today. Your glory is the light that saves the world. Do not withhold salvation longer. Look about the world and see the suffering there. Is not your heart willing to bring your weary brothers rest? I am the Holy Son of God Himself.
Fils de Dieu lui-même. Niez votre propre identité et vous n'échapperez pas à la folie qui induit cette pensée étrange, contre nature et fantomatique, qui se moque de la création et qui se moque de Dieu. Niez votre propre identité et vous attaquez l'univers seul, sans amis, une infime particule de poussière contre les légions de vos ennemis. Niez votre propre identité et regardez le mal, le péché et la mort, et regardez le désespoir vous arracher chaque parcelle d'espoir, ne vous laissant que le désir de mourir. Vous, qui vous percevez comme faible et fragile, avec des espoirs futiles et des rêves dévastés, nés pour mourir, pour pleurer et souffrir. Écoutez ceci. Tout pouvoir vous est donné sur terre et au ciel. Il n'y a rien que vous ne puissiez faire. Vous jouez au jeu de la mort, de l'impuissance, pitoyablement lié à la dissolution dans un monde qui ne vous montre aucune pitié. Pourtant, lorsque vous lui accorderez miséricorde, sa miséricorde brillera sur vous. Alors que le Fils de Dieu se réveille de son sommeil et qu'il ouvre à nouveau ses yeux saints, pour bénir le monde qu'il a créé. Cela a commencé par erreur, mais cela se terminera dans le reflet de sa sainteté. Et nous ne dormirons plus et rêverons de mort. Alors, rejoignez-moi aujourd'hui. Ta gloire est la lumière qui sauve le monde. Ne refusez pas le salut plus longtemps. Regardez le monde et voyez la souffrance qui y règne. Votre cœur n'est-il pas disposé ?
So still. Wow. See, there's an instantaneousness in the communication. It's like it's so immediate, you literally feel presence. Has nothing to do with an action or trying to do something or trying to accomplish something. No, it's just here. You can actually say it's like the total opposite of what the human being tries to do to come to experience a God particle. It's like an enhancement, and big enhancers made and built, and a great machine, 28 kilometers in a circle to speed up one little or two little particles in opposite directions, so they will bump right into one another with almost the speed of light. See, you could say like in our miracle work, in our light work, we in fact slow down everything sufficiently to get in like an infinite moment that will simply never stop. It's like it's absolutely slowed down to God's speed of immediacy, which is beyond speed. It's an immediacy, it's an instantaneousness that is You cannot say fast. You cannot say slow. It is. It is. It is what it is. So this is really interesting because today, say, looking at the particle enhancer here in my backyard, in my backyard in Switzerland, close to Geneva, I think it is. We will see about that in a moment, but it's like they made a huge machine for very small particles, giving it so much energy that the particles start to float around with a speed of almost the speed of light, with all kinds of precautions, all kinds of this and that. And coming out of a meditation, that's a really weird idea. If you see that the communication can be immediate, way fast, like in no comparison to the speed of light. It's God's speed. It's immediate. It is everywhere immediate, all through the universe at the same time, because literally there's only one moment in that sense. So no precautions, no defenses, no investments, no, none of that. Like completely none of all of that. No investments, no certainty measures, no protocols, none of that. Completely free to let it be, to let all the particles be as they are. They are not particles. They are awareness. They are consciousness. Communicating one by one. Every part of the universe is communicating with every other part in the universe, and that is happening. It has nothing to do with any kind of invention. It has nothing to do with the human invention. It is your reality. And you tap into it. When you become still, when you slow down your mind sufficiently to a point where there's like a moment of no idea how this is supposed to look, no idea where to go, no idea what to do, has nothing to do with that. And you could say a total uncertainty. It is given to you because it was already part of you. It is a complete whole part of you and every other aspect of creation. So anyway, so this is great stuff. But it is fun to use it, to look at what, say, the top-notch human invention has led to, in fact. To see what we think we need for it, how much we invest in it to make it work, how much, and it has its function of its own. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. No, the people give their love to it. People give their hearts to it. People give their whole lives to it. And see, in the end, something will happen with it. It's like whatever the way to God is, whatever the way to recognizing that there's nothing outside yourself is, like whatever it takes. Huge investment, giving your years to it, having fun exploring, or whatever. It's like nothing wrong with it. In that sense, always lead to God, to recognition of who you truly are, because there is certain, like this outcome is already certain, it is accomplished. So we don't know how this works. So that's why it can be fun to take a look inside this particle accelerator and hear somebody say talk about it in a kind of interesting way. Right. So you probably have seen it somewhere. It's like a huge machine underground. You can't believe how big it is. And so the only thing that happens is that two protons are actually, say, bumping into one another, and that causes some kind of reaction. So why am I showing this? Why am I showing you this? Not to give you a lecture in physics, but you see that in the in the research that is being done, in everything that one is looking for, the only place where you don't look is within yourself. And I could have said that immediately, of course, but it was actually fun to see like how many people are even involved in just this little discovery of one tiny little particle you will never be able to see, because it's like suddenly there and suddenly it's gone. It moves through energy, it moves through, like the only thing that's being that has been trying to accomplish is that you're actually trying to make a whole story of possibilities, in fact. So like, yeah, you can keep expanding that, because in like everything is possible. You can do that, sure, absolutely. So what will it give to you? What will it bring to you? Well, you're curious, so you look for the next step and the next step and the next step. Looking outside yourself, you see all the scientists with their machines. They work with machines. It's very mechanic, you could say. And you think that's going to work. Now here, I say quickly run back to, in fact, where we left off before we watched this. And that is the idea of the immediacy of, say, the liberation that takes place in you. Say, which is really what the quantum light work is. It's like remembering that you can shift out of this form into invisibility. And that is not something that you do. It can happen to you, like it's a miraculous occurrence in you, but a real possibility to in fact being taken out of this whole story. Like this whole scenario suddenly comes into a whole different light. Now you see that they were talking about synchronicity and symmetry and all this. It's like the first thing that happened to me when I say was taken out of this for the first time was that I experienced a moment of perfect synchronicity. Like everything was so perfectly synchronized. There was such an incredible totality that communicated, that communicates with everything. You could hear it, like I could hear it being that perfect. Now, you know, it's like the real discovery for you in this is that changing the world, you could say, you can change your world instantly. It doesn't have to be a research path of decennia, of hundreds of years to come to some kind of conclusion that it might be possible and that you can calculate it without being part of it yourself, like it still didn't happen to you. So you see the nature of awakening, or the nature of quantum light work, is so different, because in fact it is always going back into you, like it's coming back to yourself. It is realizing that you are part of this, like you are not a mechanical structure. You are not something that needs to be, say, worked on from the outside. No, everything is already set up. Like I'm the Holy Son of God himself. Like that is my reality. It doesn't have to be made or researched, or what else do you want? So that's so great. So that fits really well with the meditation that we did and the silence we entered into. Just like that. It's like that's exactly the happening. In that moment, it was an eternal moment. It lasts forever. Now looking back at the world, it becomes like, what am I supposed to do with that? Well, nothing. You don't have to do anything with it. That's so great. You don't have to spend 30 years of your life to discover that isn't it either. No, it's like immediately you see it. Within 10 minutes you have like, yeah, I don't need to do anything with that. And without denying it, in fact, it's like, okay, if you want to give your heart to it, go ahead. But there's no necessity for you, because in fact there is no discovery to be made in the end, except that that isn't it either. So that was what I wanted to use this video for, and I hoped that it was a part of the video of the particle enhancer, just because of the incredibility of the machine, you could say. It's like unbelievable. So that's one thing. Now I want to share something with you. This is all about this mechanical idea of yourself that you have as a human being, thinking that you're this and that you have to move in this three-dimensional world of limitation and protocols and programs, you could say. So I'm sharing with you the say some of the expressions from Master Teacher in a certain talk that he did. I'm using this because it's so beautifully connected to the real world. That's what I love about this. So you are a mechanic. You're a physicist. You know, it's like that, the guys that we just saw. It's like you're a physicist. You have the idea within your mind about the universe, but you are mechanical. There's no way that you can do it. Like there's no way that you can come to know the universe doing that in a mechanical way. Doing this on say, with the max of light speed. Like in awakening, in light, quantum light work, the speed of light is in fact slow time. We call it slow time. Because just like your observations are, say, past references, it is so slow that you cannot even see it in the moment. It is always over. You know, so that is slow time. It is not fast. Godspeed, you could say, Godspeed or immediacy or instantaneousness is immediate. It is not ruled by time. It is immediate. Like it can come to you instantly. You have the idea, I'm reading further, you have the idea within your mind about the universe, but you are mechanical. There's no way you can do it. How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? You use the mind of God. Now I'm going to try it. Listen, what about this real mechanical world? The real world is also a symbol, like the rest of what perception offers. It's like the real world. So we're still in this real mechanical world, you could say. We're still in this real mechanical world. The real world is also a symbol, like the rest of what perception offers. Yet, it stands for what is opposite to what you make. Your world is seen through eyes of fear and brings the witnesses of terror to your mind. The real world cannot be perceived except through eyes forgiveness blesses, so they see a world where terror is impossible and witnesses to fear cannot be found. I love this. That's why I shared with you. It's like, that's so lovely. The real world cannot be perceived through eyes forgiveness blesses, except through eyes forgiveness blesses. So they see a world where terror is impossible and witnesses to fear cannot be found. Now we talked about this before, indirectly, not directly about the real world, but the real world holds a counterpart for each unhappy thought reflected in your world. A sure correction for the sights of fear and the sounds of battle which your world contains. The real world shows a world seen differently, through quiet eyes and with a mind at peace. Nothing but rest is here. There are no cries of pain or sorrow heard, For nothing there remains outside forgiveness, and the sights are gentle. Only happy sights and sounds can reach the mind that has forgiven itself. Now this is pretty wild. It's so beautiful. So here's one more from the first 50 lessons. This is: my holiness envelops everything I see. From my holiness does the perception of the real world come. From my holiness does the perception of the real world come. Having forgiven, I no longer see myself as guilty. I can accept the innocence that is the truth about me. Seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see, for I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. See, and this is an interesting expression after seeing the scientists doing their thing, you could say. Seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see, for I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. Now this is what I love so much. That's why I say, I share it with you. It came to me, like, to bring this in a perspective of holiness is just amazing. Because it is like it can happen in the same room. You know what I'm saying? It's like it happens in the same room. It just depends on how are you looking at what is occurring. That's why I say, like, I'm not excluding any kind of scientist or scientific research in general. Not at all. No, it's like my holiness envelops everything I see. So I can see it everywhere. If I don't hold any ideas about myself or the world, it can actually be shown to me what the real world is. Like in the real world, it says somewhere else in the course, like in the real world doesn't have buildings, it doesn't have this and doesn't have that. It's like you see beyond the structure, you see beyond the mechanical part of it. But still, like, in a relationship with your brother, with everything that's occurring, like nothing excluded. It is just that you see it differently. And this is really like a quantum light work activity, you could say. You literally start to see it in a different light. It is not related to the past. It has no ideas about the future. It is immediately here. And it's recognizable, and you can actually experience it in this moment. That is so great about this. It's like, that's the gift that's being given. So this is how you do that. I can do my research in a three-dimensional world and think, hoping for an outcome, hoping that a great idea will come to me. My mind will be very open to receive one. That's great. That can be a really good start. Who knows what will come to you? But on the other hand, how are you looking? It's like you cannot see a different world than what you believe this world is. If you recognize your holiness in this world because you recognize yourself as holy, like I'm the Holy Son of God Himself, that is given to me. That is who I am. So now, realizing that, what else can I see than a holy world, like than a real world, say, enveloped in holiness, in wholeness? What is more, say, predictable than that healing will take place? So here are no sounds of despair heard. Here are no sounds of battle, no sounds of any of those things or of conflict. No, it goes completely beyond that, because literally everything is enveloped by your holiness. Now this is on lesson, say, on the 191st day in the Course in Miracles, like almost 200 days you have been doing the exercises on a daily basis, just doing them, following the instructions and giving it your best, opening your mind when you do it, taking time to go through it. And this is where you are in day 191. Amazing. I'm the Holy Son of God Himself. Like, I don't need to do anything for that. No, I realize that in the moment that I get everything else out of the way, any kind of self-image, any kind of mechanical idea I hold about myself, I suddenly recognize myself to be, say, the God particle, if you want. Like, I discover myself to be in full communication with the universe as part of it. So this is really lovely. It is, yeah. So I think I'm leaving it with this for now. So I would say thank you so much for joining this Miracle Lightwork. It was great to say invite science into these meetings and actually see what happens, almost like in an experiment, to come to see how this light work is formulating itself into our consciousness, in which we actually discover that holiness is enveloping it, because that is what is in our minds. And